I saw mommy kissing Santa Claus over on the daily grind last night. Oh, I'm so excited for Christmas songs. Welcome to the Daily Grind. I am your host, Luke Hatmaker. It might sound better for the month of December because I know these songs and I can kind of sing them. So you're welcome. It's Monday and it's Are you wearing an Ole Miss? Yeah, you are. We'll talk about Ole Miss later. I got Uncle Buck with me, and I got Parrish with me after a Grizzlies win after Thanksgiving. It's a good day, y'all. How we doing?
Good.
Yep, doing great, man. My favorite college football team essentially clinched their playoff berth. Tennessee, and then Memphis on the winning streak. So yeah, man, everything good.
Dude, yeah, it was like we can talk. We'll talk college ball later, but like if you're an Ole Miss fan, if you're a Tennessee fan, it really was a good day to watch, a good weekend for college ball. If you were a Chicago Bears fan, even though you lost, you were really excited because they got that clown out of here. But
he should have been fired before he left the field.
Dude, thank you.
I think that's the first time I've ever actually seen clock management lead to an immediate firing. Like I've called for it many times, but I've never actually seen it happen. Like, oh, you went home with the timeout in your pocket and let the clock expire. You're an idiot. You're fired.
When my mother is screaming, call a timeout at the television, problems. But I digress because, it wasn't a problem. The Grizzlies whooping up on Indiana last night. For those of you who did not watch the game, what are you doing? It was an early tip-off. It was Sunday. It was great. I love these early tip-off games. The Grizzlies won. You were there, right, Parrish? You were in the building?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Grizzlies won 136-121, and they came back after being down 19, I believe 19. 19. Like, this was a big boy win with which is the sixth game in a row they won. They are now third in the West. Like, things are looking great. Marcus Smart said in his post-game interview, he said, we're coming. Said, everybody look out. Parrish, I'll start with you. Because there's been a lot of games since we've talked. They played Friday, they played Sunday. Like what's been the thing that you've noticed in this win streak in the game last night? Like, what are you noticing from the guys?
Last night was their first, I guess, adversity. A lot of guys kind of alluded to that. They were, glad that they had a game like that. Also, they kept forcing, like, we need to be better in the first quarter. They've been good in the first quarter up till that game, right? So it's like, y'all really only had one game that y'all haven't been good in the first quarter. But to that point, that's good. Y'all not just said, no, we got to be better in the first quarter, period. We need to be better going forward. But yeah, what we're seeing is the Morant has returned, and they had already started streak before he returned, right? But, he brings the razzle dazzle to the crowd. That he has some great passes, some like flashy passes last night that look good. I do want to commend, we always give flack to Taylor Jenkins. Let's commend him as well.
Yes.
Commend him for yesterday. They were down 19. He still did stuff like it worked, right? He kept the whole bench in at one point where probably people thought he should have put stars in, but it worked, right? He did what worked. But I say this with his rotation, you start to see he really played 9-man rotation essentially last night. He played 11 guys, but 9 guys played the majority of it, and really 8. Luke Kennard only played 13 minutes. Guy Pippen played 10. That was even that. 4 of the minutes came at the end of the game when the game was over. Jay Huff only played like 9 minutes, and same as Scott did, like 4 came at the end. So you start to see, like, all right, when everybody's back full healthy, you kind of see who might not be in the rotation, right? And I did see him, like, in a game that was kind of tight early where they would go down there to make a comeback. He did condense the rotation, and that's what the main thing a lot of people wanted to see. Like, okay, we really hadn't had that moment yet because we got it blown out, but we blown somebody out. And technically, we did blow out Indiana yesterday, but we were getting blown out. So still, there was a comeback. Then it was a close game. Then we blew them out, and we did see, like, okay, he did make an adjustment in the game last night with the rotation.
Yep.
Yeah. I said on my post-game bounce that I did after, I believe it was the Portland game, one of those blowouts, that the Grizzlies, the average margin of victory, regardless of win-loss, just the winning team and the losing team final score, for all their games to that point was like 15 points. Like we did not play close games. We had a 2-point loss against Brooklyn. We had a 2-point win against Utah, had a 2 5-point losses to Golden State and the Lakers. Outside of that, like, everything has been a blowout. So it was nice to kind of get the energy flowing a little bit. You kind of, it's not in the way that I would have liked it, to get down 17 points in the first half, but it did. It was probably the first time where they were just had to get serious in a game in a long time. It's just like, all right, put up or shut up time. I know this is a 2:30 on Sunday. Everybody's feeling all fat and lazy after weekend. Are we going to do this or are we not? And I feel like everybody, if you haven't done a 180 on the Marcus Smart trade talks, you better. I was never there. And so I'm still on that side of like pro Marcus Smart. And he is an absolute force when it just comes to winning basketball. And Parrish took a lot of the things I was going to say away, but Tommy strikes again. Okay, you props to Taylor Jenkins. He played 8 guys for over 20 minutes, or 9 guys over 20 minutes, one of the two. But then Jake Arabia had 21. Yeah. But the point distribution is communist offense. Just going down, looking at the real app here. 25, 19, 15, 16, 11, 16, 13. Those are the guys that played. I mean, everybody scores a little bit and nobody scores a lot, and so, I like it. I'm just ready to see that Ja 40 burger. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to see my superstar be the scorer, and it's not a knock on Ja. It's just the offense that we're running in, and it's working. We got down early. We had a furious comeback win by 15. Like, I have no complaints, really. But if you're asking me just what I want to see, I want to see Ja Morant be the best player on a basketball court. And it's not a Ja Morant problem. It's just like the offense is just kind of allowing for, 11 points from Laravia and 8 points from Clark and 6 from Kennard and 16 for Marcus Smart, 15 for Santi. Like, how about all of them get a little less shots? Or more shots. That's all I'm saying.
I got something about that too. It's kind of twofold. Yes, the offense is promoting a lot for everyone, but Ja Morant is taking more. So Ja Morant played defense in the past. He's playing defense now, right?
Yes.
So you have to think he's taking a lot. He's exerting energy on the spots that he didn't before. Also, he's looking actively to get his teammates involved. Like the last couple games, he came out the gate kind of like scoring and getting offense a spark, and then he knows, Jaren kind of struggling. He only got 5 points. Let me get him in position. So I think what Ja Morant knows is the team is best when everyone else kind of is in the rhythm. But let's keep it a book. We know if it comes down to it, if the Grizzlies actually face a real adversity, Ja Morant and Desmond Bain and Jaren Jackson could go off.
Yeah, I mean, it's just great seeing. I mean, it's the kind of growth you want to see from a guy who missed so much time last year. You see him come back, and you see, one, his defense has stepped up, and two, I don't know if he's always been an aware basketball player, but he is just, it's more like, Jaren needs to get involved right now. Like he is to the like second of the game, like what's happening in the game, the flow of the game. He knows when to get people involved.
Just a theory just popped in my head, something I may like workshop, but I'll workshop it with you. All right. So defense is, you've got to have the build and the tonight, and you got to study your film or whatnot. But defense is like, what would we say? 65% just pure effort, at all times.
Yep.
And so, if you look at what Ja's good at, everybody praises his awareness on the offensive side of the basketball when it comes to passing lanes, always knowing where everybody's at. If Ja puts forth the effort, which it seems like he's doing this year, do you guys think, is it not obvious that same awareness could translate to the defensive side of the ball, just knowing passing lanes, knowing where everybody else is, and then it's just the effort? Because I don't see him being like a great lockdown defender, but he is just in passing lanes all the time.
Kind of like Steph Curry.
Yep.
That's literally what Steph Curry has done in his career. Like we already said, when teams attacked him, they took advantage of him. But he always, the team defense element, the passing lane, Steph Curry always excelled at it.
That's an awesome comp, because like Steph could get complimented on his defense a lot when those teams were clicking, when those Golden State Warrior teams were clicking, when that team defense you were talking about. Like, it's very good comp.
Yeah, it's just all havoc, and it's all just in passing lanes, just making things difficult.
And I think that's where the Marcus Smart thing comes to play. And I've never, like, of course, I'm on the show playing every week. I was discussing trade scenarios, but I've never, like, truly been like, let's trade Marcus Smart. I think the disconnect has always been, and I've always said this, I never thought, and I talked with Parker Fleming about this last night, we were saying, we never thought Taylor Jenkins was going to ever just actually send him to the bench. But I never thought Marcus Smart would ever have a problem going to the bench.
Yeah.
And a lot of people thought, oh, he was going to be like, if you tell him to go to the bench, it's going to be a big deal. I never thought that because he's had that. Really, until his last 2 years in Boston, he was mostly a bench guy, but it was like a start bench type, depending on availability, Kyrie, Kemba Walker, all the different injuries. So he's always kind of been that type of role anyway. And now he's a veteran. I never thought he would have a problem in that role. And I think a lot of fans thought he would, which led to let's trade him because I don't think he's going to ever agree to come off the bench.
Yeah, he's always been that championship mindset guy. Like at this point in his career, he's tasted NBA Finals. He's tasted Eastern Conference Finals. I don't think there's anything that dude wouldn't do for another taste of that, And so I think he is excelling right now, and he's not, and it doesn't even matter if he's shooting the basketball or not. That dude is all hustle.
Yep. And the last 3 games since he's been back, he's literally like averaging something like, I don't have it in front of me. It's like 13 points, 3 assists, 2 boards, 2 steals, and he's shooting the ball like 50, 40, 90 right now. Like he's doing great.
And he flipped it. They fell down by 11 early to Detroit the day before Thanksgiving. He completely flipped that game. He entered the game. They were down by 11. They were up by 11 when he left.
He was the reason they won that game. You're at 100%. Last thing before I let you go, Paris, I know it's cold as I'll get out.
I got the heat on.
Yeah. Daniel Greer, shout out DJ. He said this: the offense looks better without Clog in the middle. What are your thoughts? I just wanted to see what you say.
I would say this: I've seen when Greer has talked about bringing ED off the bench. I would say this: ED has looked where he ain't played in second, but when they made the switch from Brandon Clark to start and him come out the bench, both players have looked better than they were in their opposite roles. Zach Edey has looked better to come out the bench, and Brandon Clark has looked better as a starter next to Jaren. Otherwise, when Edey was starting, Edey wasn't bad. Clark was. But now in swap roles, they look much better in their role. So I was talking with me and Parker had like a good conversation after the game. I really think that's probably going to stay. Brandon Clark is going to start. Zach Edey is going to come off the bench. Zach Edey, Marcus Smart off the bench. You got to love it.
Man, well, and this, I got it in front of me. It's only 75 possessions, but the Morant, Bane, Wells, Brandon Clark, Jaren Jackson Jr., that lineup, they're plus 33 in point differential right now. 75 possessions, but they're killing it.
If you go back to when Brandon Clark was drafted, his 2-man lineup minutes with Jaren Jackson Jr. are the best in the NBA. And so I've always been pro Brandon Clark, unless Brandon Clark sucked, which is how it started the season. I'm absolutely pro Edey. I know he's a number 9 pick, but it's not like the Grizzlies front office should not feel pressure to start Edey because of their draft capital. That was their pick. They didn't trade up. They just kind of took the pick that was allotted to them, and they took a swing at Edey. And Edey is going to have value to this team. I do not think he's going to have value as a 30-minute per game guy right now with John Morant. It's just too much traffic in the paint. I said that on draft night. I hope I'm wrong, but John Morant, when Zach Edey's on the court, drives and then fades away from the basket, and I don't like it.
Yep, that's fair.
Which I think that, of course, it's early in his career. It's early in the season. Both players have been in and out of the lineup. That's going to come with time. They're going to get better at that. But it's going to help. And I always said when they drafted Edey, I was like, the Grizzlies can match up with anybody now. If you got with that Lakers game, I never seen Anthony Davis struggle like that against the Grizzlies. Zach Edey had him in shambles. So that's what you got him for, like specific matchups when Santi and Jaren were getting killed by the Lakers in the playoffs. All right, we got Zach Eady now. What you gonna do?
Well,
Right. So
Yep.
And it's
you got the
also
matchups.
you've got 5 fouls too that it doesn't
Yep.
have to go on Jaren.
Eat them up.
If
Eat 'em
you're
up.
playing
Yep.
somebody like Anthony Davis
And
that Jaren always gets in foul trouble with, you just go ask Zach Eady, like, hey,
exactly.
Hug him.
you got a 6-minute run here. Hack him and
Hug-
get him off his game. Yeah.
Yep.
And another growth about Jaren's game outside of his offense, fouls. This is
Yeah.
the least amount of fouls averaged in his career.
Yeah, I'm done talking about the Jaren fouls. I feel like that's
Yeah.
a thing of the past. You know, as long
Yeah,
as Taylor
it
Jenkins
is.
doesn't foul him out of the game with 5 fouls, like, then I'm done talking about Jaren fouls.
He does good.
Man, Jaren's gonna be an all-star this year. He's playing out.
Yeah.
Like we'll have another show.
We're gonna have a conversation about all NBA, but we had a
Oh
conversation.
yes, sir. Yes,
That's
sir.
the real conversation
Again.
about him this season.
Yes.
Let's quit the communist offense, get Jaren some 40-point games, and let's get him in the conversation.
Hey, true, man. Hey, true. It's hard to claim when I've never seen the Grizzlies have like a number 1, number 2, number 3 offense
I know.
in like all categories. So,
Ever.
I know. I don't want to cancel it, okay? But if we do play some close games, those points total.
Oh, yeah,
I
we're
agree
gonna
with
need
you, Parrish.
Yeah.
But as long as we're just like, it feels like, you know, like the old Alabama football team was like, okay, we're gonna go out, play football, we're gonna win by 21, and we'll go to the next game. You know.
But if you remember the 21 and 22 season, I asked Brandon Clark about that last week because his team reminded him of that. He was like, yeah, he was like that year they did that. I remember Chris Vernon was on the show like, man, I'm tired of blowouts. We need some close games. And then we got some close games, started losing.
And then it was no good. No good.
You know, to make the one last college football association, beating bad teams badly does not always prepare you for SEC play. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to go and lose. Like, you've got to go and get in some dogfights at some point.
Yep. That's true. Parrish, we'll let you get out of here, brother.
If you can blow them out, blow them out.
Yeah, blow them out.
Just kill them. Just
because you don't want to give them a chance.
No, you give them a chance, they're gonna take. I don't like that. You keep your foot on their throat and you kill them. That's what I like. We'll let you get out of here, Parrish. Go inside, get warm. It's cold.
Hey, no doubt, man. Back to work.
Yeah, brother. Have a good one, man. We'll see you later this week.
All right, y'all.
See you, brother.
See you, Parrish.
All right, man.
All
okay.
right.
All right. Yeah. Now we're
Who
talking.
messed with our cameras?
I don't know. I hate it. I know
Jeez.
this looks good now. So, now we back at it. Okay. So, all that to be said, currently on December 3rd, 2nd? December 3rd. What day is it?
Second.
The Grizzlies are sitting at 3rd in the West. They're on a 6-game win streak, and they are 1.5 games back, maybe 2. I don't know the math here.
I'll tell you.
I'm rounding. I'm taking the 1.5 game back. I'm not, because that makes me feel better.
So right now we are a game and a half back of the Rockets. So they're 15-6. We're 14-7. Or game and a half back.
That what do you think? That's awesome. And this is a crowded West. This is a very crowded West. I think the only team that has a better win streak right now is the Milwaukee Bucks, and they don't even have a better win streak. It's just the same.
Right. Okay.
I just, considering what's happened in terms of the injuries, the lineups that we have started, we are exceeding expectations. If you would have told me that we would have I don't know how many possessions they've played together, but if you would have told me they have been limited to the games they've been limited to, and that we would still be 3rd in the West on a 6-game win streak and that close to the Rockets and the Thunder,
right?
I would have been, because the same thing happened last year, and we were in dead last. Like, this is a different team, and it's awesome.
I think last year after Jaw's suspension, when he come back and we were like 6-19 or something like that, 9-16 or something coming out of the suspension. Kind of the season was over. It's really good. I mean, you've dealt with a lot of injuries. Knock on wood. Feels like we're coming out of them. I think Edie's going to be back this week to give you another piece off the bench. And you look at the teams ahead of us. Like, if you're forecasting who could stay there, who could fall, I don't think anybody questions Oklahoma City's legitimacy to stay amongst the top 2 in the West. I don't think anybody expects that out of Houston. It would not surprise me at all if they kind of hit a slump here, and then you're looking below the Grizzlies, and it's Warriors a game back of the Grizzlies, Mavericks a game back from Grizzlies, Lakers 2.5 games or a game and a half back. There's a lot of teams a win streak away from like competing for the top of the West.
Yeah.
And so the Grizzlies have done a great job. They've won 6 in a row. They are 7-3 in their last 10. But you've climbed the standings, but you are not putting a cushion there. And it's probably not time to start thinking about seeding yet. But it is nice to look at the layout of the standings and see yourself at 3, a half game back from Houston, who you don't really think is a contender to stay in the top. I mean, to have home court advantage in the West.
Yeah, I mean, because you got to look at it like Houston is fitting that mold of young upstart team that takes a leap. Like they're fitting that bill. We were that 4 or 5 years ago. They're fitting that bill. Right. That team typically always takes a step back, and they're also a prime candidate for me, a team that might package some of their depth for one guy, like
should, yeah.
Yes, and so that might lead to some hiccups further down the road. But I think that the Grizzlies have proven in this little stretch here that they are. It's hilarious to me that they should have been in the conversation in the toast of the West up there with the Thunder a long time ago,
right.
And it's
there's a lot of people feeling like they're looking at the same and be like, oh yeah, well, we were probably too hard.
Yes. Yeah. And it's vindicating, like as someone who I think shout out saying, like, we tried to tell folks to relax, like we've got the depth. It's just, people call us homers. It's not that we're homers. I mean, we are homers, but this year we're just realists. We saw what we read the tea leaves this year and we knew what this team had, I mean, shout out DG2. God, we are about to be tested on the road. This Tuesday game is a big game because we play the Dallas Mavericks and it's on the road. And somehow on God's green earth, we are still in the NBA Cup.
What?
Look it up.
I thought we were done with that.
I did too. We're not. We are still not technically eliminated.
We've got to win this one, I guess.
Got to win this one. Yeah. If we lose this one, we are technically eliminated. But we are somehow. Yeah, I want this game bad. Saying, I feel you.
I feel like Dallas and Boston we never do well against, and with Dallas being Western Conference foes, former Southwest Division foes, like I want this one really badly. Mainly because I have the post-game bounce afterwards, and I'm undefeated so far. Thank goodness you asked me to do yours the other night, or we would have lost that game.
Man, that's why I asked you. I was like, man, I can't be driving and have to deal with the loss. I got to get someone else to do it. I just can't do it. I can't do it.
Yeah. But it's very exciting. But if you look at the standings too, like I said, right now you're third in the West, and a game and a half out of first. But you go all the way down to the 12th seed, the Kings are 5 games back of you. The Spurs at the 10th seed are 2.5 games back. So I mean, there's
the West.
You've got to keep winning, keep chugging, get healthy, figure it out. Do not take no breaks. I do not want to see rest. This is not going to be conducive to staying healthy. I refuse to believe it. Play basketball.
Yeah, I mean, we need. Oh God, man, so we've got the Mavs tomorrow, Kings, and then we play Boston this week too, right? We got a tough week, man.
Yeah, so we came off a really good stretch. You had Indiana, New Orleans, Detroit, and the Blazers, and the Bulls, and the Sixers, all in a row. And all those teams are garbage.
Well, when you say it like that.
But what do I say? Good teams beat bad teams.
Bad teams. Good teams beat bad teams.
And they beat them every time. And so as long as you're beating them, and they're beating them convincingly, going back to what we were talking about with Paris, like they're blowing these folks out.
Yep.
So you're going to get into a dogfight at Dallas Wednesday. There's just no way around it. If it's a blowout, I don't feel like it's going to be our way just because we don't blow them out. They blow us out.
Every time.
Right. And so get in a dogfight. I want to see some real shot making from our stars going down the stretch and ice a game on the road against a really good team.
Yep. We're going to put that out there. That's what's going to happen tomorrow. We're saying it. We're putting it out in the universe. Talk about one more thing before we take a break. Something I know that you, speaking of manifesting things into the world, something I believe that you were manifesting for a while. Let's check into the college football. Let's check in.
Yeah. Listen, I'm kind of in the dumps. Ole Miss beat Mississippi State. Ole Miss is.
Because
if you're talking about the Grizzlies playing the hustle, that's what the Egg Bowl was. And it was a little sloppy, but the Egg Bowl typically is. But there's never joy in beating Mississippi State. I never take joy in it because the risk of losing is worse than the thrill of winning. And Ole Miss at 9-3, you really shot yourself in the foot after a bad road loss against Florida. You really could just had to see where the chips fall at the end and hope to get in as a 9-3 team, but you needed some chaos. You didn't really get it. South Carolina beating Clemson helped you, but it also helped South Carolina.
Yeah.
I will forever hate the Yellow Jackets of Georgia Tech for screwing that game up because nothing would have helped us more than Georgia losing twice and knocking them out, but they had to lose twice. And so, Ole Miss seems to be one of three teams vying for the last spot in the playoff. Yeah. Those teams would be South Carolina and Alabama. Ole Miss beat South Carolina like 28-6 in a game this year. So I don't really want to hear. However, the AP still ranks South Carolina ahead of Ole Miss. I don't understand how they're doing it. I know South Carolina's hot. They just beat Clemson. But at some point, you've got to look at head-to-head matchups, and Ole Miss beat them in Columbia like a freaking drum. And so that's the only way I'll be mad. Listen, I think Ole Miss has got a better resume than Alabama, too. Both teams have bad losses. Ole Miss beat South Carolina by 25 or whatever it was. Alabama beat South Carolina by 2. That you can keep going down here on. But Alabama beat LSU. Ole Miss lost a close one to LSU. You could go around it. Ole Miss beat Georgia by 18 points. Alabama beat them by like 2. I mean, you could go around in circles here.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I would never expect ESPN and the College Football Playoff Committee to ever put in Ole Miss over Alabama. We saw last year with the 14 playoff that they kicked out an undefeated conference champion Florida State team to put in Alabama. So, no, I don't expect Ole Miss to get in over Alabama. But if South Carolina gets in over both of them, there'll be pitchforks. Not for me, because I'm firmly in this. You did this to yourself. We did this to ourselves. You lost to Kentucky, okay? Kentucky at home. So, yeah, I'm just not. I'm going to have a live show to dissect
tomorrow
the end of season college football rankings before the conference championship. We're going to do that tomorrow night live.
Yeah,
I didn't do it last week, not because Ole Miss got beat, but because I had Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
my grandma's Thanksgiving. I was not ducking it. I'm a bigger man than that.
Yep.
But after the Egg Bowl win, I'll definitely be here. Talk about it.
That'll be tomorrow. Tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, college football rankings show live tomorrow. Probably try to go around 8 o'clock. That's what we typically do. So,
heck yeah.
Tune in to Bluff City Media's YouTube and Twitter for that. Hop in the comments with me. It'll be a fun time.
Heck yeah. We'll take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to talk about our Thanksgivings, I imagine, because I had a good one. I feel like Parrish. I got very little negatory about my weekend, but I found something, and it's so benign, but I love it. We'll talk about it right after this break.
I think Zach Edey played well. He got his fouls in. He got them in for sure. But we saw some flashes of really what he can do, whether that's setting screens or just whether blocking shots or just making guys change their mind about shots or just affecting the quality of shots that guys were getting in the game. We saw that a lot. They gotta use him though, man. They gotta be able to find him a little bit.
I was about to say they especially the whole first quarter. It was like because I think that lob that y'all had him, that was his first points of the game. So it was like the whole first quarter I did peep that. It was like I see everybody else attempting 5+ shots.
Right.
Y'all gotta find a way to give Zach Edey something like at some point. Everything was running well last night, right? The offense was flowing well. It's gonna come a stretch of time where they're gonna be stagnant, and at that time, that's when I expect them. Okay, hey, let's run the post play to Zach Edey.
Tune in to the Anthony Sane Show Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
This is a question I don't know if you've ever been asked. Was there anyone you ever wanted to dunk on? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm glad you haven't getting a big kick out of that one. I'm glad you've been waiting all day for that. Just waiting all day to get that little jokey joke in. Oh, you got a joke. But yeah, I always wanted to dunk in the game. That's what I wanted to do. And it didn't have to be on anybody. And I wanted it to be off of a missed shot, like on an offensive rebound, so that everyone's around or in the vicinity when it happened.
Did you ever dunk in practice and get overly excited?
Yes. and everybody be like, well, are you going to do it in a game? I'm like, no.
Tune in to the Night Court Podcast with your hosts, Rob Fisher and Brevin Knight, on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Welcome back to the Daily Grind. You can catch that show, catch the Night Court Podcast. We got a whole bunch of shows. They're all at bluffcitymedia.co. We have the No Bluffing Podcast, which dropped last night. It is available today. Go check it out. We've got the Anthony Sane Show. That's every Wednesday and every Friday at noon. We've got Night Court Podcast. That's every, I messed up. I forgot it. It's every Thursday, Wednesday, Night Court, Thursday, right?
The graphic.
I don't know.
Yeah, I have big news. I have big news regarding the schedule.
Yeah.
So, new development from the Two Buck Sports Show.
Yeah.
We're going live every week.
Twice
a week.
Twice
a week. Tuesdays, Thursdays, on your lunch break. 12 o'clock, the Two Bucks will go live. And we had so much fun doing the live show 2 weeks ago where we went live at 3 o'clock. And so we liked the interaction. We liked the fan base. We wanted to try to squeeze in two shows before Wayno went to sleep in Australia. And so noon o'clock shows for the Two Buck Sports Show on Tuesdays and Thursdays going forward. The 3 o'clock Friday spot is vacant if anybody wants to join.
I was getting ready to say, I'm glad you stopped me before I just said some lies. Oh, that's sick. So
yeah.
We
live
got
Two Bucks every week.
Every week, twice, Tuesday, Thursdays at noon. I'm going to remember this easier now. Yeah. Anthony Sane, I think I read that he's going to be going live. I might have made that up. Wednesdays, Fridays at noon. The Grizz 901 live postgame show. That's got live in the name. Duh. And this, we're Monday through Friday. Live, 7:30. We got a whole mess of shows. But back to our show. On Mondays, not Bluff City Media, doesn't get that out of here. On Mondays, we talk about what we loved from the weekend and also what we did not love, because it's important to take the good and take the bad. I truly believe you cannot enjoy one without, experiencing the other. So Garfield is the mascot of this because he's the best. Shout out him. He loves lasagna. He hates Mondays. Duh, it sounds cool. So I'm happy to go first. My lasagna. I'll remember it one of these days. My lasagna was, I just had a great Thanksgiving.
Yes.
It was great. It's my favorite holiday. You get to eat a lot of food. You get to enjoy family. You get to, without buying gifts for people, it's like you don't have to worry about spending money. Just food. You get to watch football. You get to watch basketball typically around it too. I love it. I love it. My Monday was just like nothing. Everything that could have made like an uncomfortable travel experience back home yesterday made, because it was like so cold. The drive was really long. I bit the shit, pardon my language, out of my tongue it was so bad that it was bleeding for like 5 minutes, and I was doing this and there was just blood all over my hand. Gosh. And I was like, it's so cold, all while driving. I was just pissed about it. And Nashville traffic sucks. Just one of the many things that sucks. I just pissed, just generic normal white people things to complain about. How about you?
Yeah. Listen, my Monday is I love seeing family and stuff.
Yeah.
But like you, I'm sure all I did for a 5-day weekend, because I took off Wednesday too, was just drive everywhere. I had we tore the tires up on that minivan this weekend.
On the Honda Odyssey, baby.
We tore the Honda Odyssey up. It is in shambles right now. You know, it looks like a Tommy Boy. You know that car
Yes.
David Spade drives around. Like by the end of Thanksgiving, we were driving Tommy Boy's car around. And so my Monday though, my lasagna. See, I get it. I don't ever accidentally get it right. You know,
I made it up and I don't know what it is.
Listen, Thanksgiving's the best, man. We got to see all of our family for the most part. Hate my sister didn't get to come in from down in Mobile, but I just love seeing family. We spent the back half of the weekend at home, and just hung out. We watched a Christmas movie. We watched Jingle All the Way last night.
I love that movie.
It's great. Absolutely top-notch Christmas movie.
Dude.
And today is my girl's birthday. So I got a 10-year-old now, which got up early this morning, took her to breakfast for her birthday. It's kind of a family thing we do for birthdays. Had an early morning breakfast at Jack's this morning. And dropped her off at school, and my wife just texted me and said she was star student for the month as well because she just never can get enough awards. And
naturally.
And another Monday, the dang elf come back. I hate the stupid elf on the shelf.
Oh, he's back?
He's back. He has to come back on the 1st of December apparently. And my 10-year-old Chloe wrote the elf a letter yesterday.
Did you write back?
By consent, asking for a second elf that is a girl so that her and her sister could be represented. And so guess who had to drive to Walmart last night?
Another elf.
He went to sleep to go buy a girl elf. I hate the stupid elf. I hate it.
Oh,
it's
man.
One thing, it's like every single night I wake up in a terror like, did we move the stupid elf? That they did to show my chops as a parent though. They did name the elf themselves, and they named him Ja. So,
that's Ja the elf. Ja the dude.
Yeah,
I might make a Ja the elf graphic and have Ja the Christmas elf shout out on the show.
Yeah, that's what we need to do.
Dude, 10's a great age too. 10 is like because they're not quite an asshole yet. Part of my language again.
But they're getting there. They're getting there. I can see the writing on the wall, but that girl is the best in the world. And so she's just nothing but artsy and wants to color and draw at all times, and she's a good big sister for the little ones too. So I wouldn't trade her for nothing.
Love it. Shout out her. Love to make my heart melt. Family's the best, y'all. Go say hi to your family if you haven't today. That's going to do it for our show today. We're going to end on a good holiday Christmas note. $2 Sports Show going to be live tomorrow and Thursday at noon. Anthony Shane's going to be broadcasting, not live, but he's broadcasting more places on Wednesdays and Fridays.
Wednesdays and Fridays at noon. That's right.
And we got the Grizz 901 live after every weekday show. We'll be back tomorrow at 7:30. Everybody have a good day today at work. Stay warm. It is colder than a witch's you-know-what out there. Or colder than a well digger's hind end. That's a better one. If I could leave you with anything today, remember these two things. Remember to be a little weird and remember to smile. See you guys. We'll be back tomorrow.